All right, let's see if
Hey,
you guys can hear
can you
now.
hear us now?
Okay,
Okay.
cool.
Well, you're on the phone. Well, I gotta hang up. All right. Can you guys hear us?
Yeah, let us know if you can hear us.
Can you guys hear us? Please, just Jordan, if you can hear us, drop it in the thing. If you're looking, please join us back in. And he said he can hear Regina, and it might not have been you, it might have
Might have
been
been
us.
us.
So, guys, we do. Let me check and see if if I can hear myself.
Mm-hmm. Check and
Because
see if you can hear.
let's see if we can.
Testing 1, 2.
Let's go here. So this seems to happen every time.
Okay,
we
great.
Go.
He can hear us now. Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for that.
Okay.
Boy, we
okay.
done went through half the thing.
So if you guys can hear us, I'm like, we were talking about, I can't believe that. We went through the whole thing. So it was like, it's like when you go through the whole thing, you don't even know what you said. But,
Right. That's okay.
So that's right. It's okay. So,
well, thanks for the heads up. We
that's right.
greatly
We're going to
appreciate
start
that.
all over again. So, welcome to a Friday Night Live, right?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So, we're going to start it all over like we never had it before.
No, that sounds like. All right, so
what are we talking about? We said why is it that your relationships aren't improving?
all right, we're not just talking about communication skills. Well, we're talking about your growth, your awareness, and your healing.
Right. So tonight we will be discussing again for the second time with you why personal development is the foundation of all healthy relationships. And so we went through the manifest method. What we do, make sure you guys get your book. And what we said is that if you don't have your copy, please make sure you get it. And if you do have it, this is the month of May, the month
Yes.
of power. And so and it's purple.
Yes.
And so
it's a perfect alignment.
a perfect alignment. So
Yes.
make sure you get a copy for your friend, your sister, your neighbor, the birthday girl, the birthday boy, the birthday people, the weddings. Make sure you buy it. Give someone the gift of a book for their wedding, right? Give someone the gift for their engagement, their anniversary.
Yes.
So make sure you get the book. And then we were talking about why is personal development so important and why is it at the base of all relationships?
Mm-hmm. That's
And
what
so-
I was saying. That's what I
And so
said.
we had a whole conversation
So I
about
said
it.
that if you don't have a healthy relationship, that means that you probably need some personal development.
It could be. It could be. So we were talking about usually when we talk about personal development, people look at it as in terms of getting it for work,
Yeah,
right? Your
yeah.
job requires you to take certain training and they give you soft skills. But what we fail to realize is that those same soft skills are required in your intimate relationships,
Right.
your family relationships, all relationships.
Yeah.
So the reason why they give you those training,
Mm-hmm.
that training in work is because they know that at the root of every relationship is the ability for people to self-reflect,
Come on.
self-introspect, right? But what Jason was saying, you could say that
I
about
was
once
saying,
you
right.
once you acquire them.
See, like when you acquire corporate training, you take it home in an intimate setting, and sometimes it doesn't work because it come across as employer-employee. So you just have to be careful with that training. That when you come home, it has to relate to your intimate relationships.
Or you have to be able to understand how to do the personal development when it comes to what you need to do in terms of all relationships. Because sometimes and the whole purpose of emotional intelligence and soft skills is so that we can get along better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time we're not taught. We're not taught in school. We're not taught growing up. We're not taught how to really interact with people that may think differently than us, that may comprehend differently than us, that may communicate differently, that come from different backgrounds, different cultures, and just different ways of handling conflict. So we think that I am the way I am and you just take me or leave me. And most people don't realize that,
I think that has become comfortable for people to say.
yeah, I am who I am.
Yeah, take me. This is how you have to take
This
me.
is who I am,
Right.
and
I don't
I'm not
think-
changing for anyone.
that
And
doesn't
you're
help a
not
relationship.
changing, and you're not changing for anyone. You're really changing for yourself, so that you can know what it takes to actually have better relationships with everyone. One of the sayings is that if everywhere you go, you keep having the same issues, it's not the other people.
Ooh.
What is the one common denominator? And so we often don't want to look in the mirror and say, as us, we want to deflect and say that it's someone else. So if you keep encountering the same issues with people, whether it's arguing, whether it's people just don't get you, whether it's not being able to communicate effectively, what is going on today? So we have to make sure that we take the time to say, what is it about myself that maybe I could work on?
Mhm.
Maybe,
Maybe.
yeah, because when we get into intimate relationships, Jason and I were having a conversation last night, as we always do. Like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, we do.
well, Thursday morning,
We talk a lot.
yesterday morning, we got into the gym late, and there people were like, "Oh, you're just not getting here." And I'm like, "No, we've been in the parking lot for an hour because Jason, this man acts like we don't live together and sleep together. So we'll sit in the car once we get in the morning." But it's those great conversations that we have
Mhm.
because,
I'm not talking to myself
right? But I
in the
was
car.
no, most of the time you are. And then I take everything you said and I bring it to the podcast. But people don't realize that when you get into a relationship, you're getting to know the person.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
And so you're not really looking at their flaws and they're not looking at yours.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't until you're in the relationship or deep in the relationship where the issues start to come to the surface. And now you don't know how to combat them because no one has the wherewithal to say, hey, what's really going on? And not how do I fix my partner, but
Right.
how do I fix myself? How do I fix my coworker who's getting on my nerves, but why is this person getting on my nerves? So
Mhm.
bring your mic down a little bit.
Yeah, it's
All
fine.
right.
So it should be okay.
So
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, what you talking about? Fixing
no, I'm
fixing
just
somebody else?
just the conversation.
Yeah, I'm saying. I'm saying that's
why do you think that people just neglect that part of themselves and don't realize the importance of
because they have to have
personal
introspection.
development?
They have to have introspection, right? They don't think there's anything wrong, right? I've survived this long.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten along. I've come this far. I'm doing well in my career. I'm doing well at home. Everything is going fine in my life as it is,
According to me.
according to me. So if
Yeah.
I feel like if I'm right, I don't need any more improvement, and especially not self-improvement. So people think that if I'm looking to be self-improved, that means there's something
Wrong with me.
So
Right.
I have to admit that something's wrong with me in
That's
order
true.
to need
That's true.
self-improvement.
And that's another myth that most people, when you ask them, have they had personal development, they'll say, well, I've had, training at work or I've done, some things at work. But when they look at personal development, they look at it as a sense of,
Yeah.
well, there's nothing wrong with me.
Right.
And they look at it as therapy. Like,
Right.
why would I look at a therapist or why would I go? And therapy has their place, but personal development has to be looked at as something different. It has to be looked at from a lens of what is it about me that maybe I can improve. That's how we have to look at it.
Right.
It doesn't
It's-
mean anything's wrong. It
I was
means
just
that
gonna say
maybe
there's
we haven't
nothing wrong.
developed the necessary skills to have the type of relationships that we really want to have.
And if we can take care of this self-improvement, we will minimize these conflicts in our relationships. So you're wondering why you have all these, rough patches and
Well, we're just talking
valleys
about our
and things.
relationships,
Right,
right?
right,
Mhm,
right.
mhm.
Regardless, I mean, like we have. So if you find yourself in a rocky friendship
Right.
situation with your friends or your buddies or whatever, you always find that things after a while they hit this thing, and then the relationship kind of blows up, and you mad at each other and all this other stuff, and then in time you guys come back together. If you find yourself having these rough patches in your relationship, it's because probably you need to grow, right?
Right.
When things are going good, you're pretty much, you can coast, you're good.
Right.
But when trouble shows up, that means
always
there's
the-
something.
But it's always the other person.
Well,
And
always
that's
is.
and
Right.
so that's where when we're talking about personal development, the importance of it, we have to understand that it is a process where people who actually realize this is the thing, sorry, people who actually realize the importance of personal development actually have like 30 to 40% higher life satisfaction,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure.
They don't see the falls and the faults and the flaws in other people because they've done the self-work.
There you
And that's
go.
what we're talking about. So and I was talking about coming off the conference.
Mm-hmm.
I just got back from a women's conference, and it's so important because I was discussing with some of the women how as women,
Mm-hmm.
we pour into ourselves from birth until we get to a point where either we've accomplished a certain amount of education or career status,
Mhm.
and then we either get married or have a family, and then we stop. We
Yep.
stop, and it's not. I don't think it's intentional. It's just that we just are not conscious of it.
Okay.
We then we take on that role of wife, mother, caregiver, whatever it is,
Chauffeur,
and, and
chef.
we pour into those around
Oh,
us.
yeah, yeah.
And then we stop developing. And then it gets to a certain point in our life and we go, well, what do we have to show for it? Why do I
Yeah,
feel empty?
Yeah, right.
And so personal development is not just about careers. It's not just about status. It's about understanding that everybody's soul needs continual growth. Could you imagine if you stop growing? Like if you were 2, the height and the size and the weight that you were at 2, that's the only place you went to, right? We have to continue to grow, not just in the physical, but the mental, the emotional,
internally,
the spiritual.
right?
Yeah, internally.
But have you ever ran into someone like from high school and you have a conversation, you go, wow.
And they haven't grown.
Yes.
They haven't.
And it's unbelievable that it's
absolutely.
like we're still
Absolutely.
talking about stuff that we
Yeah,
talked about in high
yeah.
school. Yeah.
Or so with you and I, when we deal with couples who are in coaching
Mhm.
and may have even did therapy or counseling,
Mhm.
and they can't figure out why their relationship isn't moving forward, is because one person doesn't see the purpose in growing. So they go to therapy, they go to counseling, they go to
Right.
coaching, and they're sitting there like, I don't understand the purpose.
I'm paying for an hour. I'll give you an hour.
And
or
I'm going to
whatever.
sit here,
And I'm gonna sit here.
and I'm going to leave the same way I came.
Right.
And that brings me to another point. When I was at the conference, and one of the speakers said that if you come back next year
Mm-hmm.
the same way you left this year, then you're not doing the work.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
the whole point of self-improvement, self-development is to gain something and then let it get compound interest, right? You
Right.
just keep building on it.
And after a while, after you get that improvement, you don't have to work as hard, right? Because you built up momentum, as Tina was just saying. You built up momentum, and things just start to happen for you. But
And you
if
start
every
to see
time
things differently. It's
Right,
like
right.
the view at the top is different from the view at the bottom.
Exactly.
Right?
It opens up your vision. It opens up your dreams, your aspirations, all of these different things. Because a lot of times we get busy in lifing and doing the very mundane things, going to
Right.
work, coming home, taking care of the kids. You can basically tell what your life is going to be from day to day, from week to week, from hour to hour.
Right.
But it's so much more to that. And then when you go to these personal development conferences and you talk about what life is really about, and people giving you exercises and you're doing all these different things, and then you come back and you have these like aha moments, like I am so much more than what
I'm expressing.
right. I am not my job. I am not my kids. I am not my family. I am a whole human being, right?
Right.
But I have dreams and aspirations that I want to go after. So that's why people end up doing various different things. It's an awakening, right? Your soul becomes awakened. You become awakened. And I tell you, if you become more awakened as an individual, your relationship's going to prosper because now you're giving 100% of yourself, not just portions of yourself. You're giving your whole self to yourself and to your relationship.
And I think when people talk about in relationships, where I need someone who knows how to water me, but also if you don't know how to water yourself, then that void, that person's going to have a harder time because they don't know you like you know you. And so when you do the introspection and you do the self-development and you do the self-work, it's not for anyone else.
Nope.
It's for your own gain. It's for you to realize maybe some of the things that are lying dormant within you. Maybe you don't realize the innate greatness that you have. And so when we do that, we stop looking for validation outside of ourselves. And
That's exactly
with
it.
women, especially now in this day and age, so many women are looking at the outside.
Yep.
We're how can I put on the least amount of clothes, or how can I have the loudest approach, or there's so many different things that we're looking more on the outer and less on the inner.
Right.
And we're looking for people to validate us. And when they don't, then we have mental issues. Well, I feel lonely, I'm not loved, I'm unworthy. And really all of those things come from us not doing the work on ourselves, right? And so Jason and I were having the conversation, which
Again in the car?
right, that we were
That
having
long
the
conversation
conversation
in the
when
car.
you guys couldn't hear us. And so we often have on the way to the gym or anywhere, whenever we're in the car, we have these wonderful conversations that I really wish that we could just pop on live and really have you guys tune in then, because it's at those moments where they're just so organic and so in the moment and needed about what's really going on in relationships, what's going on with people. And so we were talking about why people don't really see the value in self-development. Like we just don't.
Because we think we're okay. There's nothing wrong. When somebody says,
and we're not taught that. We're not
Right.
taught that we need personal development when we're in grade school, in high school,
Exactly.
in college. And it's not until we get to the workforce that we realize that we don't have people skills.
Nope.
And so your boss is like, oh my God, you
you need to go get trained.
right. And so we think that it's only for on the job.
There you go.
Hey, I got trained on the job. I'm gonna do it. But we really don't. We don't go 100% in. We don't realize that this is what's going to make us better. When we understand that, hey, how can I communicate better?
Come on.
How can I effectively get how I feel across to the other person without trying to convince them that, hey, you need to think like I think? And I think that's the issue. So many times we want people to, when I say validate, or we want people to say, you know, you're right. You're absolutely right. Everything you think and say is, you know, but really, it's,
That would be nice from time to time. But yeah.
And so
Right.
we argue our point. We want you to see it from our way in all relationships, whether it's at the grocery store, right, whether we're fighting for an extra piece of candy or a bigger scoop of ice cream. It's like we want people to. We don't want to change. We want the other person to change.
Always. It's always the other person. Always the person needs to change, because we're, like I said, in our eyes, we're fine. There's nothing wrong with us. That's why most arguments happen, because you're trying to get someone to see your point of view and not theirs.
Right.
Right? It's your way or or no way.
Right. And so we were talking about how people come up with the saying, well, this is just so they validate not getting personal development by saying, well, this is just who I am.
Right.
Take me or leave me.
Is that valid though? I mean, just think about it. Is that valid? I mean, because people say it all the time. Well, this is just who I am. This is how I was raised.
Yeah.
Or this is what life has
and
taught
so,
me.
To me, being who you are is great.
Right.
Right. Everyone is great, but also we can be greater.
Okay.
Our
I like
greatness,
that. I like that.
Our greatness
Yep.
can exceed where it's at.
I like
And so
that.
when we make excuses for why we're doing or not doing something, then I think that's the area where people have to realize, what am I doing? What excuses am I making as to why I don't want to grow? Right? Why I don't want to take the time to do the self work that's going to actually eliminate or dissipate any issues that we may have. So I know with you, so you know, let's talk about some personal development work that you've done.
Okay.
Then, and how do you think it's benefited all your relationships?
Well, you know what? Once I realized that I
Who you talking
didn't.
to? Sound like you
Yeah.
sound like I'm interviewing. I ain't
Yeah.
interviewing.
So once I
Okay.
I just thought about it. It's once I realized that everybody didn't think like me. I don't know what was wrong with everybody else. I don't know why y'all didn't think like me, but you didn't think like me, and there was nothing wrong with having another point of view. Didn't make it right, wrong, or indifferent.
Right,
But I
right.
needed to see that. I needed to understand that, and it was okay. It did not take away from who I was or
Right.
anything that I brought to the table.
Right.
But it was a way to actually look at someone else and to respect people in a different way, just because of what they were saying. So once I did that, I didn't have to say, well, I was wrong. In my point of view, no, it's just a different point of view. So that way it helped, because I was able to say, I have a point of view, you have a point of view, and we just have to find a common ground. And that helps with, one, raising kids, also dealing with your parents, especially if they're aging, because I sort of feel like you're always wrong with your parents, because, they pull that parent card, right? But me going to and taking personal development helped me to understand that I'm okay and where I was and where I was missing the mark.
Right. I would say for me, it when we talk about aha moments, it gave me a different perspective.
Yep.
Right, because as people, we only see things through our own eyes.
Yeah.
We only see it through our experiences. We see other people through the other relationships we've
Right.
had, how we were raised,
Yeah.
what we internalized may have been somebody else's story, but we took
Come
it on
on, come
and
on.
we
That's it right
internalized
there.
it. And
That's
so
it.
what self-development and introspection and journaling and
Meditation.
all of those things, what it did for me is that it really allowed me to say, well, wait a minute,
Mhm.
maybe you do need to change,
Yep.
right? And it
Yep.
wasn't
But
my
not in a bad
mate-
way. Not saying that something was wrong with you.
well, no. For me, it was me being honest with myself.
Exactly.
There were some
Exactly.
things that I did that maybe were not very nice or very kind or very considerate of other people,
There
and
you
I
go.
didn't
Right.
see it.
Right.
Now you can still be nice and loving and caring and be a mom, be a mother, a wife, and all those things, and be a great team player. But also there's some things about myself that I had to look from a higher level of consciousness.
Okay.
Right. So if I keep encountering where I'm being misunderstood, then where am I missing the mark?
There you go.
Why do I feel
Yeah.
like everyone is against me?
Right.
Right. And then I had to realize, as we always say, right, what other people think about me is not my business, because
Yep.
everyone is not going to like who I am. And that doesn't mean I had to change according to other people's opinion of me.
Right.
What I had to do was realize, what is it about Tina that Tina needs to be aware of and change, or Tina Marie?
And that's what
Right.
I had to figure out, right? I was always worried. I guess, as a child, you look for approval,
Right,
right?
right, you do.
You want to do good.
From,
You-
and that's what we, right? Your parents, your
right,
teacher,
exactly.
your peers.
No matter what. I
you
mean, like
always
I was a
wanna
good
look at-
student.
Right.
I didn't get in any trouble in school.
Right.
And I just wasn't a troubled child. But
Can you
getting
hold that?
older.
I'm sorry. I just want to recognize. So, guys, don't forget, if you are in the building with us tonight, make sure you put some comments in the thing. So I just want to shout out Gail today. Good evening, family. Good evening, Gail. Happy belated birthday.
Yes, happy belated birthday.
That's right.
Yep.
Taurus.
Oh.
All right. So, for you guys who may have missed it, my birthday was on Easter. So you can go ahead and say happy birthday, Tina.
Okay,
But
happy
so
birthday.
happy birthday to all of the Aries and Taurus in the world, because
It's a lot of them.
we are amazing.
But not as many as the Leos.
Well, it's not your birthday. It's not
Okay.
your birthday month. Ain't your birthday.
Well,
Don't be trying to steal our shine.
we just take over. We just take over. You're
So-
very welcome, Gail.
Yeah. So I didn't mean. So I told you hold on to it, because so you were like so you were a good kid. You wanted approval. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think you like that approval, right? Like, oh, you're a good kid, this, that, and the other. So you end up acting a certain way because you don't want someone to say, "Oh man, that kid is a piece of work," or "That kid is doing this and this is that," right? So you're like, okay, well, it appears to be, if I do something like this, that's out of character. So I don't want to do that because I don't want them to look at me that way.
And also what brings back to mind is when we had the conversation. Yes, we are amazing. Gail said that. Oh, you can put it up there. I don't think I put it up on the screen. I didn't put Gail's. Yeah. So Gail said, yes, we are amazing. Can you put good evening, family? I don't think I put that up there either.
Yeah,
Up.
I did that.
Oh, you did it? Okay. So the other thing is that I'm thinking back to our conversation that we had with the therapist, Carla.
Yes.
And we were talking about people who have
Narcissistic.
narcissistic maybe behaviors and stuff like that.
Right.
But as you were talking, dang, slipped my mind. But doggone it. But it
I'm
was,
talking about like when you're raising children and you.
or no. So I was thinking about what you were saying about how we want to please people,
Right.
but also I'm thinking about the self-development, right? About us doing that. So sometimes when we I lost my train of thought.
Okay.
But that's okay.
So
We'll get
anyway,
back to
so
it. Yeah.
like what I was saying about me,
Not want to be out of character or getting approval.
not being out of character, not saying like, oh, I won't do this, because then people gonna say, oh, you never done that before, so I won't do this.
Right.
Right. So I had to let go of that. I had to say, I want to do this for me, not for how somebody else
Right,
view
right.
me. So you have to take control of your life, and that's what personal development does. It helps you to take control of your life and live it the way that you want to.
So for you guys who are viewing, we're talking about personal development. So I want you to comment in the comment section if there is a person, right, that it doesn't have to be your intimate relationship. It could be a coworker, it could be a distant relative, it could be a close relative. I just want you to comment, right, if there's someone that that refuses to do the personal development work, and how has that stunted? How has it stunted their growth,
Mm-hmm.
and how does it show up in your relationship with them? Right? Because as we're talking about doing personal development, I know for me, once I started shifting
Mm-hmm.
and I started doing the personal work, right? Because we all want to have high self-esteem. We all want to have self-love.
Yeah.
But that's a little different,
Mhm.
right? You want to have self-love for who you are authentically,
Mhm.
not who you portray to be or who sometimes your situations have made you become.
There you go. That's
Right,
it. Your
right.
situations, your
Right.
life experiences.
Right. So what I realized is that once I started doing the work, my whole relationship with Jason changed.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't as irritable. I wasn't as, it's like when you realize that the issue is you, a lot of the issues go away.
Right.
It's not what is going on or what's happening. It's kind of how you're viewing things. And so
Right.
I
So when
want
you, so let me just say this. So you changed. So you go, I'm not going to say that. Now I don't have to defend or wait for you to say those things.
Right,
And then we
right.
don't have to go back and forth.
Absolutely.
You'll say something and
It,
kind of like, and it's-
eliminates problems
right.
themselves.
So again, the personal development helps remove the conflict that you may have in your relationship. Period.
Right.
So,
So-
you're not going to say those things that maybe cut too sharp or anything like that, or you don't need to get the last jab in or whatever it is. You could just say your piece in a respectful way.
Okay. Yeah, I was just gonna say I remember what I was talking about
Okay.
with the therapist Carla was on. We were talking about narcissistic behavior and how someone, and not necessarily narcissistic, but it was the conversation about how when someone tries to self-correct
Uh-huh.
from their experiences.
Oh, then they,
and so
sometimes
they're on the left and they go, this is never, or they don't understand it, so they go so far right, and they don't realize what you've done is that you've created this maybe false belief that now you're living from this narrative. And so, well, I'm not going to be like this person.
Right.
I'm not going to be soft, or I'm not going to be hard, or I'm not going to be
Or I'm gonna be
mean.
totally
I'm not gonna
opposite
be
of who I
I'm gonna
was.
be or I'm gonna be totally opposite of them.
Right.
So you're basing who you need to be on someone else instead of doing the self work and you becoming who you need to be and realizing that the other person needs to do their self work and become. Everybody's journey is different.
Yeah.
Everybody's self worth or everybody's self work is totally different. The
Well, let
work
me-
that I need to do on myself is not going to be the same work that you need to do on yourself.
So let me ask you this question. When
Me
you,
or audience?
you.
Uh-huh.
So when you first went to the conference for the first time,
The women's conference.
the women's conference.
So we were talking about. I just got back from the Gold Rush Women's Conference, and I know that's a kind of like a lot of pictures, but it was know your greatness, show your greatness. And so, in order for us to do that, our greatness can't lie dormant, right? We have to do the mining. We have to do the work. We have to get rid of the old false beliefs, the things that the old narratives, the I was done wrong and I'm this way because this person made me that way. We have to get rid of those stories that we keep telling ourselves that keeps holding us back. Okay. So
All right. So we're going to go back to the very first conference.
Very
So
first conference.
So this is probably 2018.
2018.
All right. So 2018, you're good as a person, right?
I'm good as a person.
You're good as a person. And you just said,
I'm okay with myself.
you're okay with yourself. We're okay. Things are going well.
Right,
Right.
right.
And you decide to go to this conference.
Exactly.
All right. So when you get that aha moment, gosh, now let me see what I was thinking about. What changed for you at that very first conference that made you go, maybe I can be a little bit different. Maybe I can, maybe I am a little harsh.
Well, no, it wasn't just harsh. It was harsh. I didn't say harsh. Did I say harsh?
I didn't say
You
harsh
said-
either. No, I don't know where that came from because I surely didn't say
No,
it.
what the aha moment was is that I had stopped doing for
You.
me
Oh,
what
okay.
I did in the past.
Got you.
So as a young Tina Marie,
Uh-huh.
I always strived for, if I wanted something, I went after it.
True.
If I needed to do something, I was always
Come on.
working towards a better me.
Yep.
And then once I became a wife and a mother,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of redirected my energy and put it into my family and my kids. And there's
Okay.
nothing wrong with that.
Correct.
It's just that I didn't balance
Uh-huh.
the whole mother work life balance.
I got you.
So I was giving myself to my work.
Yep.
And then when I finally came home, right? But it's always been work. So whether I was working a job or working a business,
Right.
it was always, this is work.
Yeah.
And so how do I elevate work? How do I succeed in work?
Yeah.
This is motherhood. How do I elevate in motherhood? This is this area, right? This is a wife. How do I become the best wife, the best partner, and stuff like that? But I stopped saying, who is Tina? How do I stop feeding me?
Gotcha.
And so when I went to the conference, that's what she says. We're so busy looking outside of ourselves as what defines us, but it's not the things that's outside that defines us.
Right.
It's the things that's going on the inside. And so the whole purpose of this is for you to realize that personal development is crucial to healthy relationships. Crucial, because but you can't take what you learn on the job and let it be your only sole training.
True.
You have to continue it from a personal standpoint.
Come on.
Right? So jobs teach you how to
Increase revenue.
self-regulate, increase revenue.
That's right. It's all about that bottom line.
They teach you how to get along.
Right.
And so we take that as, oh, I never knew that. So let me create these boundaries. Let me put you in your place. But you have to understand, if my job requires me not to put my emotions into it, but just do the job, I can't do that same thing at home.
Nope.
My relationship, my intimate relationship requires my emotions. It requires my awareness.
Yeah.
It requires intention on what type of relationship I want.
You need to be present as well in your intimate relation.
Yeah, so when we're talking about doing the self-development, it's a 360. It's not a 180. It's not a one view. We have to make sure that we're getting the whole picture,
right,
and not a limited picture. Because if you're getting trained on the job, why is your job training you? Because they want you to get along, which means that they realize that relationships are important. And that's why we train corporate people on the relationships are important.
Right.
It's not just about the bottom line. You have to treat people as people. But when we're also talking about relationships, we're talking about the relationship you have with your children, the relationship you have with your family members who maybe you may not agree with, or maybe they have a different disposition than you, but that doesn't make them bad. When you start to see things from a different perspective and you start to do the inner work, then those things that maybe that used to bother you don't bother you anymore.
That's when you know you've grown.
You've learned that what is it that was within me that I needed to change so that these things don't affect me.
I think one of the hardest things that I learned was when you see something in someone else, when you judge something, when you judge someone, you can only see that because that's in you.
Exactly.
And that was the hardest thing for personal development for me to understand. I don't see that.
Often
that's not in me.
Yeah. Oftentimes people will bring their issues to you, but it's really their issues.
Right.
And so for us, when we're trying to explain to people that the issues that you have with someone is not that person.
No.
It's the issues that you have because it's inside of you. You can't see something about someone else if you don't have it. And I hope that resonates. I hope you understand
that's
what we're saying.
was hard, right?
Right.
The only way that I can see your shortcomings is because I have those same views and those same shortcomings in me. That's why I can see it in you.
Or we reverse it. So say someone has a strong personality and the other person, you have a more meek, relaxed, softer, melancholy personality. And so you want to be more outspoken. You want to be more assertive, but you're not. So then you take it out on that other person because you don't have it.
Right.
So the reason why you can see it that, they're so assertive.
Right.
And so their strength now becomes their weakness in your eyes because you don't possess it. So now you don't like it about them. So when we're talking about personal development, when you stop growing, you stop growing. And so you're really...
That is so profound. Don't stop.
So it's
the moral is don't stop growing.
Yeah, it's sort of like you've gotten to a certain level and you think that that's all there is to you.
Right.
But it doesn't matter your age. There's always more and deeper to explore. And so when we stop doing the work, when we stop, and so we Jason and I were just talking about journaling. And so, part of our work is journaling. And so we
Yep.
do have some journals if you guys haven't. And this is one I created specifically for me. And so it says manifest joy-filled relationships. And so once you do the work, it's not just about the intimate relationship, it's about all your relationships. I want all my relationships to be harmonious. And so we do have journals. And so for you guys, like I said, I just came off the conference. We have a whole bunch of journals. We have a whole bunch of workbooks that I have, right? That
A great companion for the book.
well, we have some. I would say a whole bunch because we have some. So we have the workbook that goes along with the book to help you to actually work through the chapters, work through the pages, work through the exercises, and especially so in our book we talk about journaling and we talk about introspection and we talk about meditation. And so the journal is really important. So if you're not journaling, I would definitely recommend, and you don't do journaling as a chore, you do it to help the healing process because we carry baggage along with us, baggage from our parents, baggage from our ancestors, baggage from society,
Right.
baggage from way, 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 way back that is constantly being
It's
pressed upon us.
Well, you know what? It's generational baggage, right?
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
I'm sure I can almost guarantee that I'm carrying around things that came from my great 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 grandparents. I can guarantee you because it's been passed down.
Right. And so,
different iterations, but it's one of those things that's in the family.
yeah.
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 Like, why do you cook something this way? Because my
Why do
mother
you do-
and then
or
my
why do you
grandmother.
fold clothes this way? Why do you do
Exactly.
anything? Right.
It's just things that's been passed down through the ages.
And then what we don't realize is that when we don't take the time to
Unpack?
unpack or really pull apart
Mm-hmm.
those things that may have made us feel a certain way, and if the conversation comes up, we find ourselves feeling that way again.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't take the time to unpack why we feel the way we feel, we're going to keep projecting it onto other relationships, other
That's
people.
for
It's other
sure.
people's fault. It's
Yeah.
is their reason. As Jason was saying, have you ever ran across someone that you haven't seen in 20 years and they're still like in a time warp?
Yep.
Right? They're still back to high school. They're still back to the first job you guys got. They haven't done the mental, physical, or emotional work that will propel them forward to be the best versions of themselves. So people often talk about, well, I want to be the best version of myself. Well, how do you get there?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not through other people need to change. It's other people's fault. People need to apologize. It's not about that. It's about, what do I need to do? What type of work am I not doing on me?
Right.
I often tell our clients, take your eye off the other person, no matter who the
That's
other
easier
person is.
said than done,
It
baby.
is. It is. And with the conference, I was telling them, when we don't journal and put down our thoughts and our feelings and take time to actually unpack and heal from whatever it is that has impacted us in a negative way,
Mm-hmm.
then when challenges come, we're like a paper bag in the wind.
Yep.
We
just
can't.
flopping.
We go right back to the last incident. This hurt me. I'm not going to allow. I don't know how to get through it. I'm not going to allow this person to do this. And so when we talk about the importance of personal development, guys, it is the foundation. It is the only important thing in healthy relationships.
Yep.
You cannot have a healthy relationship if you're not taking the time to do the important self-development. And that doesn't mean, and so what another part of the conversation was, as we were talking about,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't mean I go and learn about something and then I'm trying to throw it in Jason's face. Oh, well, I learned that this is how you,
I need to self-regulate. So now you need to learn how to self-regulate.
or this is how you handle conflict. So I know how to handle conflict. So
Right.
it's you that don't understand. So that's not what we're saying, because
Right.
that's the same thing as keeping your eye on the other person.
Yeah.
When you truly do the work for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
then the conversation about what someone else has to do, it doesn't come up.
Nope.
It doesn't come up. If you're looking at what you've done, the work that if you've truly done the work and it has uncovered a different part of you,
Yeah.
then that should yearn for more exposure to what can
Right.
I do to elevate, not how can I take what I've learned and throw it up in your face about what you're not doing. That's not what self-development is. That is, let me try to get this skill and then try to tell you what you're doing wrong. So that's not self-development.
Right. That is not.
Right?
Right.
Right. So do we have any comments?
Yep,
All right.
Yep, let me hit Regina here. She said, my month is May.
All right.
All right.
Regina, I
Power.
knew it. All right.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And Gail said, I would like to order some workbooks for your marriage ministry.
Absolutely.
All right, well, absolutely.
Just let us know, Gail.
Yeah.
We have them. We do have some extra for the conference. So if you get them from us, you don't have to pay the shipping and handling,
Yep.
or they can get them. You can also do the download version. So
Yep.
let me know. You can purchase them either way.
But they go hand in hand with the book.
The book, and it's important also to journal. You can get any journal.
Right.
But if you guys are reading the book, there's so many parts in there that tell you about meditation, that tell you about journaling.
Yep.
We always recommend journaling because sometimes the thoughts that we have, they're not to spew out to our partner. Sometimes if they're negative thoughts or you're working through something, there can be triggers there.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to put out in your journal all that stuff that's going on inside of you that you need to regurgitate, that you need to get out. Because if it's false beliefs, false narratives, negativity, then you need to get it out and be able to look at it and say, is this the story that I want to continue to tell myself? Is this the story that I want to continue to live?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not, then you've left it in your journal.
Right.
You don't have to pick it back up. You know, at the workshop, I gave the ladies an example. I said, if you had dinner last week and you had Popeye's chicken, right? And you threw it in the garbage, and now it's 5 days later, and you go, man, I'm hungry. I'm going to go back in the garbage and get that Popeye's chicken that I threw away that maybe there was a French fry in it. Would you go back in your garbage and get the garbage from last week? Of course you wouldn't. So once we do the work, once we unpack these things, these stories, my mom didn't love me, my dad didn't love me, I didn't have enough time, I was the middle child, I was the youngest child, I was the oldest child, whatever stories we tell ourselves, right?
And there's plenty of them.
My boss doesn't like me, my boss didn't like me, or people at whatever story that you're telling yourself, you can put it in your journal, you can pull it apart, and it's garbage now. You don't have to pick it back up.
Right.
We can leave it where it is, and you can write a new narrative. You can write a new story. That's what affirmations and denials are about. I deny that anything has any power over me, and I affirm what I want for my life. And my affirmation is that every relationship that I encounter is harmonious. And it doesn't matter what anyone says or does to me.
Mm-hmm.
It only matters how I react and how I internalize it, right? I can validate their truth, but it doesn't have to be my truth.
Come on.
It doesn't have
That's
to be
the difference
the
there.
truth.
Right. That's the difference
It
there.
can just be that
Right.
maybe that person.
That is their truth, but it don't have to be the truth or your truth.
Exactly. And the thing is that maybe that person hasn't done their self-work.
Right.
And so, or maybe they're working on themselves. And so now the things are coming up to the top, and now they're like, okay, let me handle this. Let me tell this person what has always bothered me about them.
Mm-hmm.
But that other person has nothing to do with what has always bothered you about them.
Right.
They're living their life, doing their thing. So you going to tell somebody else about what they've done or didn't do, does that really make you feel better? Or is that something that maybe you need to tell your journal, put it out, put all whatever you thought, she was this, he was that, she did that, he did that, and just unpack it, let it go, throw it away. Stop carrying it around. We don't need to have backpacks filled with all of the stuff of the past.
We have
Right?
a lot of it. Right.
We do.
We
And-
walk around with a lot of it. Or someone tells you that, you know, like if you have a disagreement, they'll say, well, man, what you could have said this and it would have made me feel better. Like, no, I couldn't have said it. I couldn't say that because that wasn't for me to say.
Right.
I said exactly what I wanted to say. Now, you wanted me to say something to make you feel better, but that wasn't coming from me. So I can't give you what you want just to make you happy.
And we shouldn't do that.
And we
do
shouldn't.
that a lot.
Right.
We tell people
What they
how
should
they
do.
could have behaved,
Right.
what they should
To
have
make
done.
me feel better.
I mean, we do it to our children, and it wasn't until, later in life that we realized that maybe that wasn't the best thing,
Right.
right? And so, but when
As you
now that
evolve
we
and
know
you get
we
better, right.
Because we're all young, we're
Right.
all growing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but now that we know better, we can do better. We can take the skills that we acquire,
Mm-hmm.
both from work and both from home, both from our book and both from I recommend you just read any
Yeah.
self-help book,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't have to be ours. Ours is great.
Yeah.
But any self-help book, any course, any, we have courses, we have coaching, we have and it's not because it's needed. It's
Of course
needed.
it's
The
needed.
bottom line is that when
Yeah.
we stop doing the work,
We stop growing.
we stop growing, but our relationships, they start to stink. And so people go, well, in the beginning it was great. Yeah, it was great because
But you were still figuring each other
you
out.
were figuring each other out,
Yeah,
and you weren't looking to find the flaws in your person and in your partner.
right.
You were looking to get to know them, and now years later, you're like, oh, I don't like
I
the
can
person.
point out all the flaws, every last
Right.
one of them.
And that's not the point of it.
Right.
That's the point is that how many flaws of your own can you point out?
Ooh.
That's what we have to look at. So, like I said, this was every conference, every woman's conference, or any conference. When we go to marriage conferences and stuff like that, they're always so enlightening because we have to continue to grow. And I always tell people, elevation takes honesty. If you're not honesty about what part you play in your relationship,
Yep.
and that's the relationship in everywhere. Like I said, your work relationships, your home relationship, your family relationships. Sometimes we're so stuck on being who we are that we can't even see how we are just making everybody around us not want to be around us.
You know what's interesting too? Like you'll have it in your sibling relationships, right? Because your older sibling is still going to treat you like you're the younger sibling, and I don't care how old you get,
Right.
and you've come of age, and
I
you're
told my
doing
sister,
quite
you
well.
still treat me like a
You
little sister.
still
She was like,
treat me
I
like
don't
I'm-
treat you like a little sister. I was like, yeah, you still treat you
Exactly.
still talk. And especially when we take on the role of mother,
Mm-hmm.
we have a tendency of treating everybody like they're our children. So we
Yeah.
talk to our younger siblings like they're our children.
Mm-hmm.
We talk to younger people like
Like
they're our children.
Yep.
And we don't mean to. We want to give advice. We want to help. But we have to remember that everybody has their own journey. And sometimes we just need to pull back and just
That brings me to a story. Reminds me of a story that we were working with a couple on, and one of their breakthroughs was how they interacted with their children, and actually started to treat and have conversations with their children like they were adults, like they were individuals, not just if they were their children, right? So that was a breakthrough for them.
Yeah, and sometimes it's hard because your children, well, I can only speak for me. Sometimes your children hold on to a false narrative
I understand
from the past.
I understand.
And so
but I'm saying about how they were.
I'm just talking about for me.
I got you.
Right,
I got you.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I was just
when
saying
couples,
the breakthrough they had.
right? Yeah, the breakthrough they had. And so we're talking about children. That's another area of relationships that need just as much work
Sure, it does.
as intimate relationships.
It does. It does because they
Because
grow up and they have this narrative in their
Yeah.
head, and then
and
you try to get blamed for
and
everything.
you try to explain to them that they, as a child, they saw things through the lens of a child, right? And so
Right.
they've told themselves these stories years after year after year about what your parents did or didn't do, and now they've come of age and they want to tell you their version of it, but they don't want to hear what may have been the actual your version of it.
Exactly.
From I had to do what's best for you from a parent standpoint,
Right.
and you being a child. So we have to, that is another area where we have to really do some self-work, because we have to be able to just have harmonious relationships where we understand that I'm going to love you just like I love myself.
Right.
And when I do self-love, I'm able to love you better.
Right. I was having a conversation with someone a little ways ago, a little time ago, and they were saying that they had to let their child grow up. Right. You want your children to do certain things the way that you want them to do, but
Right.
they are whole adults,
Totally different.
and they're going to do things the way that they want to. And as an adult, for us, we have to be okay with that.
Right.
We have to say, you know what, that's fine. I want what you want. And if you want to, go about life this way or do this, that's fine. We love you, and we're going to support you. It's hard to do, especially when it's kind of detriment to them. But it is their life to live. I mean, like, we can say what we want, but we do have to be respectful
All the time.
of their decisions.
So, guys, the takeaway from tonight is that make sure that in your life journey,
Mhm.
you don't stop growing.
Yep.
Right. And so we look at so many different areas, and the area of relationships is the one area where people fail to realize that the training and the development and the work is just as essential as your car, as your job,
Come
as
on.
you working on your home.
Yep.
It's just as important. So I want to, we had a heart from up there from Kelly. Hey, thank you,
Hey,
Kelly, for tuning
thanks
in.
for tuning in.
All right. Thank you, guys, everybody. We're going to wrap up this episode. Let's see if there's anything. Oh, we have one more thing. Guys, please, if you have purchased the book, it is so important. It is
Yep.
so important.
If you could just do us a
Especially as
favor.
an Amazon bestseller.
Yep.
Please go and leave the review. I
Yep.
know before I was an author, I didn't understand the importance of it,
Mhm.
but it is very important
Right.
for people to go and leave a review. Yes, so we put that up there. So thank you, Sandra. The work. We have to
Yep.
put in the work. And
Yep.
oftentimes we want other people to do the work, but
Yes.
we have to do the work.
It's
on
easy
us.
when they do it.
It is.
That's less
It's
for
easy.
us to do. Shoot.
Right, just like homework, right?
Right.
Just like
Oh,
you want
no,
other people to do your housework, but it's
Right.
better when we can do
It's
our
more
own work.
satisfying, and plus you're gonna get something out of it.
So go to Amazon and look for Manifest a Joy-Filled Relationship. Jason is going to drop the actual link
To the review,
in
but
the comment section
I am. But if you have the book,
if you have the book.
you can just go to the very last page of the book,
Very last page. Okay. The very last page of the book.
and you can go
Use
there.
your QR.
You got a QR code and the email and a website address. Either way, either you can type it in or you can scan it. Go on your phone. Leave us a review. We would greatly appreciate it. Just an honest
Please
review.
go leave a review.
That would help us out
Yes.
tremendously.
Well, it's not helping us. It helped.
It will. It
well,
would help it to show up in Amazon.
Well, the whole point is that Amazon is like, okay, you're a bestseller. Where are your reviews? And that's
I know,
what
I
people
understand
look
that.
at.
I understand that.
So
Right.
that's the whole purpose of
Right.
reviews.
Right.
It's not. It's so that other people can see. So
Right.
when other people go there to look, they're like, okay, well, where are your reviews? So reviews
And
are
it's not
very
saying
important.
that you read the whole entire book,
Right.
right? But if you read, so your soul says, I'm going to read Inspired Action, and
Right.
you might read it 3 or 4 times.
So
and
Pam,
you really
so
get
Pam, you, I think Pam last
Yeah,
time,
Pam said
a
that,
couple
yep.
of Fridays ago, Pam said she's still stuck in Inspired Action, and
Right.
she keeps her soul keeps calling her. So Pam, go online and leave a review, and you can just talk about how what you've read
Whatever
so
it was
far
and
has
impacted
impacted
you.
your life, or
Right.
what you thought about the book so far. Even if you've read the introduction, give us some insight on what you think about the book. All right.
Okay.
So don't forget, guys, we do have. If you
Oh,
see us,
Nancy popped in.
Nancy, happy Friday.
Friday,
So if you
yes.
guys, we have a ton of different journals, all with a different message on the front.
Yes.
Different writing. So let us know. We do have journals. We will let you know where we're going to be next. Also, next Friday, we will be on location.
Okay.
All right. And guess what we will be doing?
What are we doing, baby?
We will be talking about the sinners.
Ooh, that's
No,
going to be a
not
live
you,
one.
not you guys. We're actually going to be
gonna go-
on location.
We're going to watch the movie.
We're going to watch the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and then we are going to discuss the movie The Sinners, or Sinners. It's called Sinners,
Sinners,
right?
right, yep.
So Jason and I haven't seen it yet. We're going to go see the movie, and then we're going to have a discussion with some other ladies on location, unpacking the meaning behind the movie, right? And thoughts and expressions. And so please make sure that you tune in so that if you've seen the movie, you can join in the conversation. All right, let's see what Regina has to say. What did she say? It works if I work it. Yes. In it to win it. That's right, Regina. So, Regina,
That's
don't
right.
forget to take a picture of your shirt, Regina. Also, oh yeah, guys, we also have our shirts. So if you want to, we have black and purple. We have all kind of colors online.
Yep.
Every color you can imagine. But if you want to get it from us, we did order extras for the conference. So we do have shirts. We will be at church every Sunday at 11901 South Ashland Avenue. You can join us for church. And afterwards, you
You can
can
grab your T-shirt.
grab a T-shirt, grab a book, grab a journal, grab a workbook.
Yeah.
All right, Gail, make sure that you get in contact with us so that you can get workbooks for the Married Couples Club, Married Couples Ministry
Ministry.
at your church, and you guys can actually work through it.
Yeah.
All right, it's great stuff. Go leave the review. And guys, we will see you on location next week. And so since Regina has taken us out, what is it? And as always, we're in it to win it. Thank you, guys. Love you. Go do that self-work.
We have to do that self-work, guys. It's so important. All right, so until next.
Until next time when Jason finds our outro,
Yep, that's it. All
we
right.
will love you. We appreciate you, and we will see you next week.
All right, till next week, guys. Peace.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Lovin' Beyond the I Do podcast. Head over to iTunes to subscribe and leave a review. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Legendary Relationship, or visit our website at legendaryrelationship.com. Till next time, remember to make every day count.